everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I've got a kitchen basic for you. This is really going back to basics. How to cook a perfect over easy egg. This is for everyone who is having a challenge making eggs, or even a pleasant reminder for those who maybe have been doing it for a number of years. And I'm going to show you how to do it in this beautiful Marquette Castings carbon steel skillet. Let's go see how this all comes together. We're going to get started by sharing with you this kitchen basic, and it doesn't get any more basic than how to make an over easy egg. We're going to be making these eggs in a Marquette Castings carbon steel skillet, and I would like to thank them for sponsoring today's video. Okay, if you're not familiar with what carbon steel is a combination of iron, carbon, silicon, manganese, and copper, which is a little bit different from cast iron, which is pretty much iron, carbon, and that's it. There's just a tiny little bit of natural silicon in cast iron. And carbon steel is smoother than cast iron, and it has a surface that is much less porous than cast iron. And when steel is rolled into a sheet at its final thickness, it's pressed between very smooth rollers, which give the finished sheets a very smooth surface and a closed grain structure. Since cast iron is poured into a mold and shaped like the final piece, the iron gets its surface finish from the inside of the mold, which is always more textured than the rollers used to finish the sheet steel. The gentleman who I am dealing with, his name is Eric. He actually riveted this skillet, and he shared that with me. He said that he riveted this skillet and then sent it off to me. So I was really kind of excited about that because there's a little provenance there, and I love knowing those things. The fact that this is made in the United States with really old world know-how, but with modern technology, that is the best thing to me, and I just love it. And anybody who loves good quality kitchen tools is going to love this skillet.
You can actually see the hammer marks on the rivets.
You can see the hammer marks on the rivets. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
It is really awesome. The manufacturer recommends that you preheat the skillet a little bit before you start cooking to reduce sticking. And this reminds me of when I was growing up and I used to watch Jeff Smith, the Frugal Gourmet. He always said, hot pan, cold oil or butter, and things are not going to stick. So we have our temperature on our induction burner set at around 210 degrees, which is nice and low. And you see how it's just melting, but it's not like browning. That's what you want. Then we're going to go ahead and crack our egg in. I like to crack the egg off to the side and then bring it in low to the pan, just like that, and let it do its thing. I'm going to hit this with a little bit of crazy salt. That's just a seasoned salt that I make myself. And then we're just going to let this egg white solidify nicely before we touch it.
Nice and slow.
You really want your eggs to cook slowly so they don't burn or over brown. If you like your eggs a little crispy around the edges, that's great. I like them that way, so does Micah. But a really well-made over easy egg does not have a whole lot of brown on it. A little tip, when you can freely move your egg around like this, you're probably safe to go ahead and flip it. And I like to use an egg slice. This is a fish slice spatula. You see how thin it is? This is the best spatula for flipping eggs. So just get your spatula right under there and kind of quickly jerk it so that you have the yolk nice and supported, and then you can just kind of gently flip the egg over like that. It doesn't need a long time on the other side, just enough to set the white. And if you like a runny yolk, you're going to want to go ahead and take it off almost immediately. But if you like them the way Rick does, which is over medium, leave it on there for about 20 to 30 seconds.
It's carryover cooking too. It's going to have carryover cooking too.
It will have carryover cooking. And that's it. There is your perfect fried egg, just like that. Just like that. And I'm going to remove this over here to a plate. Okay, real quick, I have turned off the induction burner. The pan is still warm. You don't want to wash it until it is completely cooled. So just set this on the back of your stove and let it cool off. But I want to show you how nicely this wipes out. This is just a clean and dry paper towel. I will wash this out just with some warm water and soap. And you don't want to scrub it because you don't want to lose the seasoning. You will still have a seasoning on this even though it's not cast iron. So treat this like you would your cast iron. After you use it, allow it to cool completely, wash it with warm water and a non-abrasive sponge, and then either dry it by hand really well or set it on the burner to dry out a little. And then you're going to want to hit this with a little bit of oil, whether it's flaxseed oil or I like to use coconut oil. You can use whatever you like, really. Just a light sheen so that it doesn't rust.
So no soap at all?
You can use soap. It says a little soap won't harm the seasoning. You just want to avoid scrubbing it with abrasives. And then it says do not allow your skillet to soak in the sink. It also says it's normal for rust to show up on the skillet if it's exposed to too much moisture. If you see rust, just wipe it off and rub it with a small amount of oil. So if you are familiar and a lover of cast iron, then you're going to want to treat this in a similar fashion with only a couple of differentiations. That being, you don't ever want this to come in contact with water until it's completely cooled, and then you want to preheat this a little bit before you cook in it. I do preheat my cast iron a little bit before I cook in it as well. So you know, it's just, if you're familiar with cooking with cast iron, this carbon steel, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how beautiful the surface and the finish on this pan is. Amazing. So we're going to be right back in just a minute. I'm going to give you a little more information about this great company and their product. There you have it, our beautiful over easy eggs that we made in our carbon steel skillet. I really wanted to highlight and feature this skillet for Marquette Castings because they were so generous in sending me this skillet, and I just really love it and thought it was fantastic to share with you. Now there are a couple of things I wanted to cover for you. We already went over preheating the skillet. We talked about making sure that you don't wash it when it's hot, and we're going to talk a little bit about seasoning. They say to avoid olive oil when cooking at high temperatures because it can turn into a gooey mess on the cookware. And as far as seasoning or baking on oil, the cast iron skillets come with 4 coats of baked on oil, and the card that I got with the skillet said it was flax oil. So they're ready to use right away, and nearly all other skillets will need to have a few coats of oil baked on before they can perform optimally. I will let you know that when you saw me cooking these eggs in the skillet today, it was the first time I cooked in it at all, and you can see how beautifully it worked. Before you season your skillet, you want to make sure it's very clean. You don't want to bake anything under the seasoning, and you want to choose your oil carefully. There are a lot of options and there are a lot of opinions on how to keep it simple, and they recommend flaxseed or vegetable oil. They say if you use flax, make sure it's gel filtered. You don't want to deal with seed parts in your finish, so that's really good advice. I did want to share with you a little bit about Marquette Castings. The Marquette Castings founders, the Steckling brothers, have been makers since before being a maker was a thing. We hear a lot of things about being makers, and in this time I feel like being a maker is being an artisan. We're going back to basics, we're going back to the old ways, we're doing things the way that they should have continued to be done for years and years, but now we're going back to those ways because they're tried and they're true.
This really is like a piece of art.
It is a piece of art, without a doubt. It's a really well-made piece of equipment that's going to literally last for generations. And growing up in the Steckling house meant a lot of time in the basement workshop building all sorts of random things from rockers to robots. As they grew older, the building never stopped. The Steckling brothers have grown proficient in nearly all technical fields required to make amazing products. When they saw the opportunity to really improve upon cast iron skillet, Marquette Castings was born. They've spent their entire life in Michigan and visited nearly every town from Alanson to Zeeland. When the trio had the vision to create innovative cookware designs using classic materials, Michigan's Irontown was the first name to come to mind. The lower harbor or dock is the inspiration for our shield shape, and this iconic monolith is likely the most recognizable structure in Marquette. The mountain shape within the shield does not represent Michigan's diminutive Porcupine Mountains, rather the shape of iron ore stacked in piles. While we are not located in Marquette, all Marquette Casting products are designed from scratch in our Royal Oak, Michigan headquarters. And I just for reference, that is their logo. It comes on a beautiful tag that comes tied to your skillet when you receive it. Very well packaged in a box that was made for the skillet to sleep in. So I'm just really pleased to be working with them, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's video. Like I said, if you're old hat at Over Easy Eggs, or you're brand new and you really want some guidance, I hope this helped you either way. If you are interested in learning more about the Marquette Castings carbon steel skillet, please look down below and you'll find a link where you can go to their website and you can learn more about the skillet. I will let you know that this skillet, a skillet that will last a lifetime, and it does have a price tag that will reflect that. And in my opinion, it is not too expensive.
It will last a lifetime.
It will last many lifetimes, not just yours. Your great-grandchildren will still be using this skillet if it is taken care of the proper way. So when you keep that in mind, it really, you can't put a price on that. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna say thank you again to Marquette Castings and to Eric for sending me the skillet and for sponsoring today's video. I hope that you enjoyed learning or refreshing your memory on how to cook over easy eggs. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. If you're new to my kitchen, welcome. It's always a pleasure to welcome new friends. If you are a tried and true member of the Noreen's Kitchen family, please be sure and hit the bell notification button, because we don't want any of you to miss out on all the real food for real people, real easy recipes that we present all the time right here on our YouTube channel and straight from our kitchen. I hope you check out Marquette Castings if it's something that you feel will fit into your life, and I hope that you learned something about over easy eggs today. I hope you try it and I hope you love it, and until next time, I'll see ya.